My dad taught me how to stick to the plan. I used to think that I hated my dad. I know I have this show called What My Dad Taught Me. I'm showing my old man a lot of love, but growing up for the majority of my childhood, you could have me to a lie detector test, and I probably would have passed it saying that I hated my father. We already went through this. My father is a mad scientist, right? So the plan that he had for my life and how he was intentional with raising me, he didn't let me in on the plan at all. So the whole time I was going through life, I was thinking that he was just a mean a-hole. Him and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. My pops was mean to me. Well, he was mean on the football field too with his little league football program. But he still showed the kids a lot of love. They were getting things that they didn't normally get at home. But at the house, yeah, my pops was a little mean. But him and I sort of grew up at the same time, but I'm gonna get to that later. I did not realize how much I loved him and how much he impacted my life until this pivotal moment in college. I'm chilling with my homegirl, Nunu Gary. Shout out to Nunu. I'm chilling with her, and then to me, it sounded like this statement came out of nowhere. She just asked me, "Wow, you must really love your father." And then I remember having this visceral reaction to it. I'm like, "What you mean you really love him? I hate that nigga." And then she said, "Because you always telling us what he taught you." And when she said that, I just sat there thinking, like, I unconsciously share the wisdom my father taught me to everybody else. And that was kind of flabbergasting to me because I, like, consciously, I thought that I didn't care for him at all because I just thought that he was an a-hole. But I realized his impact on my life at that particular time. Now, fast forward to a year later, my sophomore year in college was one of the most important years of my life. A lot of tragedy happened. That same year, his mom died. My grandma, the one that lived here in Longview, Texas with me and helped take care of me a lot. So when she died, he kind of spazzed out for like 8 or 9 months. And on the other side of him spazzing out, what I seen was a man who took life, um, who lived life more carefully, not to the sense to where he's afraid to die, but more so he's intentionally enjoying life a lot more. So my pops became a lot more pleasant, even though he still got his foundational a-holeness. But for the most part, he's smiling a lot more. He's jovial. And what I take from that and what I implement with me being a father right now moving forward is you still have to be intentional with how you raising your kids. You have to train them for what you know they're going to have to deal with later on in life. But you also have to understand that you can be a place of refuge and peace for your children. My daughter and my son know they can come to me for peace, but they also know daddy don't play. They also know that daddy gonna have them do specific things that they may not like to do, but you bend down, whine, and complain because I don't do none of that, right? But at the same time, they know right after we get finished handling business, dad is soft again, and there's gonna be moments where dad is not soft. But they spend so much time with soft dad, they understand why I transition into the two entities. It was just interesting to me how it took for somebody else to look at me to tell me that I love my father before I snapped out of, I guess, my fantasy world, because it really was a fantasy world. My pops impacted me tremendously my entire life. And real quick before I leave, my pops was so brilliant, right? Um, a lot of y'all who know me know my pops had a little league program that he had since 1978. When I was old enough to play for his team, I have zero recollection of my father coaching me on anything ever. Now moving forward, I'm talking to other players about the things that they experience, and they have so many stories about my father and what he taught them while they was playing. And then I realized that my father didn't coach me intentionally. He built a good coaching staff, and all of my memories come from the other coaches and what they taught me or whatever. He was hands off and let them do whatever they needed to do with me. And to all the other players, my father poured into them because I got him at home every day. I overdose of him. But I appreciate them, man, for that. And moving forward, especially when I'm working with the youth, a lot of them don't understand why I'm so hard on them. But the same way I treat my children, I treat them. I just let them know that I love them. I love you.
Hello.